Alrighty, folks. It was a rough weekend down on the farm, but luckily we got some new inventory to add to the rock stock to help us through. First up, Saxon. The Saxon Chronicles, Volume 1. Darcy, 6 strings, 9 lives. Featured this on his channel not too long ago. I didn't even know this thing existed. So of course, I had to go buy it. This is actually a reissue. Originally, got a little sticker down there, German import. Originally, this was just a 2 DVD set documentary about the beginnings of Saxon, and then they reissued it, I believe, in 2016. And they added the Rock and Roll Gypsies album on here, so now you got 2 DVDs and 1 CD, which is the one I got. So yeah, another book format a la Jethro Tull. And I see these things, they're addicting. I love them after I go out and get them. And then we have the opposite end of the spectrum as far as packaging goes. We got some Manowar triple album collection. Now I had Kings of Metal and Fighting the World, but I did not have the Triumph of Steel. And there was somebody who was talking about Manowar, and they were talking about Joey DeMeo, and I'm sorry, Eric Adams, and they mentioned Triumph of Steel being one of their favorite Manowar albums. And I quit with Manowar after Kings of Metal because I thought that was kind of a letdown. Started getting a little too cheesy there. And so I'm looking up the Triumph of Steel, looking up some information on it. And Martin Popoff gave it 9 out of 10. And I went back and looked, and he gave Kings of Metal a 6 out of 10. So I'm like, well, that's kind of in line with my thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. Well, originally I was just looking for the Triumph of Steel. But every copy I found, I think the cheapest copy I found was like $11. And this was $13, and you got 3 CDs. So I'll just sell my copies of Fighting the World and Kings of Metal. But funny enough, I went through here. Now see, this is just a paper sleeve. It's very cheap, and these things are just wedged in here. Every time I try and get them out of here, I think I'm gonna tear something because they're just, it's so flimsy. I can't even get them out of here now. I may just say, screw it. There it goes. Okay, so you see, they're just the 3 little paper deals in there. But they do sound really good. And funny enough, it actually changed my opinion on this Kings of Metal. I mean, yeah, there's some crap on here, but there's actually a lot of really good stuff on here. And I actually like it better than Triumph of Steel. Triumph of Steel's got some good stuff on it, but man, starting off the album with the 28-minute track is just a little excessive. Especially when there's like a 5-minute drum solo in the middle of it, followed by a 5-minute bass solo. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked Fighting the World, and I've always heard people talk about how Kings of Metal was one of their favorite albums, and I was like, man, it just doesn't do anything for me. But I've come around on it. Maybe I'll come around more on the Triumph of Steel too, but as of right now, I think we'll go Fighting the World, then Kings of Metal, and then the Triumph of Steel. Some more U.S. power metal, Riot 5, live in Japan, 2018. Another German import down there. What prompted me to get that one was they just had a live at Rock Palace on YouTube. Man, they just killed it live. And I saw Riot 5, man, I forget what year it was, but they played the entire Fire Down Under album. They were doing a couple warm-up shows, in the U.S. before heading to Japan for the anniversary of that album. I don't think it was 2011. Maybe 2016. But anyway, of course, they were awesome. And of course, there was like 50 people there. It was a travesty. But then I saw them again on this Rock Palace, and I was like, man, I really need to get me some live Riot 5. So I got this. Hopefully they release that live at Rock Palace, because that thing was awesome. They sounded great on there. They sound good on here too. The production's not the best. I mean, it's not like demo quality or soundboard quality. It's just not as crisp. And then when I was listening to this, it dawned on me that I already had some Riot 5, because I have the 2-disc set of Armor of Light, which has the second CD is a live CD. But I still would have got this anyway, because this is 2 CDs and a DVD. It's a three disc set, but the 2 CDs are just jam-packed full of hits. I mean, there's like 30 songs on here, and maybe 32. But it's just jam-packed full of Riot material. And then we got a newer band here. This is Angel Sword, Beyond the Pale. Now, they just released a new album, and I had never heard of them before. And I've been trying to find a cheap copy of that album, but man, it's $23. I'm not going to spend $23 on a CD, especially by a band that I haven't ever heard before. And so looking for them, I saw this one, and this was only $13. So I was like, well, I'll buy this one. I believe this is their first album, Rebels Beyond the Pale. I forget what year this came out in, but it's really good. So of course I will end up eventually. I'm not sure how many albums they have. I forgot to look it up. My bad. I did not do my proper homework. But yeah, this was really good. So eventually I'll get that other one. Somebody will buy it and sell it on Discogs. They'll rip it to the computer and sell it on Discogs, and then I'll buy it. And I won't have to pay because the CD was like, it's like $15, but then it's like $10 for shipping. So I'm not paying $10 for shipping. And then that brings us to this beast. Now, Witch Cross. This is called All That's Fit for Fighting. It's got 3 discs and a DVD in it. I can't remember who I was looking up. That's their debut, Fit for Fighting. And then it's got the DVD on this one, which is a live in Eindhoven, and a couple music videos on it, which I have not watched. And then this disc here, which has several demos and a couple of EPs on here. So this thing is packed. It comes with a little booklet. So anyway, I'm looking up bands, looking for something to spend my money on. And I come across the name Witch Cross. It's kind of a generic name. I mean, how many bands have witch in their name, and how many bands have cross in their name? But I thought that it was a new wave of traditional heavy metal band, so I looked them up, and then I saw this album cover, And I was like, holy crap, I remember that from back in the day. Now, it didn't look exactly like this. It was the vinyl. And then that picture was in the very center of the vinyl. And it was even smaller than this. And then it kind of had a border. It was like this blue that went around the outside. But I never bought it because one is probably an import, so I'm sure it was a little pricier, and the album art was a little cheesy. In fact, I can't now. Back in the day, I couldn't tell. I thought that was a really shitty werewolf or bear. I couldn't really tell. Like I said, the picture on the vinyl was a lot smaller than this, but now it looks like it's a vampire bat. So that was way off there. And of course, I'm sure the barbarian warrior in the thong was kind of sketchy for a teenage me too. I probably didn't find that very appealing. But anyway, this is your collector type deal right here, where you kind of go off the rails. Had only heard of this band, didn't know anything about them. I started looking up stuff on them, and I see this set, and it was fairly pricey, but this one was like half the price of what all the others are. They're going for big bucks. So that's when the collector in me kicked in, and I was like, oh man, I gotta grab that. So I grabbed it, and luckily it's awesome. And that Fit for Fighting, which is their debut album. The singer kind of sounds like Tony Moore from Riot, a little bit. The band is straight up, I mean, they're from Denmark, but their sound is straight up new wave of British heavy metal. It's a really good album. So that's one of those blind buys that paid off big time, which is, like I said, a good thing, because this thing wasn't cheap. But the collector in me started eyeballing it, and I was just like, man, I gotta get that thing. So luckily it paid off. Alrighty, so there's another 6 for you for the rock stock inventory. Let me know what you guys have been picking up. Have a good one.